Our moderator of this session is a self-made multimillionaire, polymath, scientist, serial entrepreneur, international speaker, and philanthropist, Nuno Martins. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Nuno, I just stay on stage.
Okay.
Welcome on stage. The stage is
Thank
yours
you so much.
now.
Thank you, everyone.
But I just want you to say what you told me just behind the scenes, how you like the conference and everything.
Well, to start, and before we open this panel, I want to start by saying I was super impressed with this conference. The organizing team is amazing. What Anita did is amazing. The way Ivan opened the conference was really inspiring. And I was really impressed, honestly. I was really impressed with everything. And not just the organizing, but even the audience. You guys are amazing. I've been having so much fun.
I have to be very honest, the audience is amazing. We did a stretch just before this panel, but panel will be very good.
Panel will be very good.
I'll leave you with your guests.
Thank you so much.
To the panel.
Thank you so
Nuno,
much.
the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So continuing, and as Ivan said, we're going to look into ChatGPT, artificial intelligence technology. Okay? And we got an amazing group of panelists. But before we go there, and again, let me also talk to someone I forgot to mention. Those of you attending at home. I know that attending from home is great, and we're very blessed to have you attending from home, but please consider coming in person. The atmosphere here is amazing. The people you meet is unique and priceless, and the city is fantastic. So if you're watching us from home, please consider coming for the next conference in Barcelona. So starting the panel now. I'll start to introduce one of our panelists. We have with us Andriani Luizidou. Well, Andriani is the publishing professional and also the editor-in-chief of 4i Magazine. 4i Magazine is a modern magazine with tech news, health tech news, startup news, and also smart technologies and smart fashion. She was nominated for Global Top 50 finalists at Women Tech Community Award. Dear Andriani, please join us at the stage.
Thank you
so much. Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Thanks.
And also with us today we have Paulina Shotrova. Paulina is a social change maker, deep tech, and robotics explorer. Her business is in the field of deep tech solutions, enterprise management, systems and hardware, information technology and services, and more specifically in the field of digitalization, robotization, and automation. Paulina is the founder and CEO of the software company called PSK Group, which was launched in 2015. She's also a legal representative of a couple of NGOs whose focus is human development, education, and technology transfer. She recently started a movement, and this is very important, called Women in Deep Tech, as well as she's a successful partner with different companies and corporations, providing a foundation for innovation in development in the region and beyond. Dear Paulina, please join us. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And also our panelist is Ivan Belayak. He's a managing partner at Attic 42. Has been a partner of the tech industry for more than 20 years. First as an engineer, later as a serial entrepreneur, which has involved 6 successful startups in between 2012 and 2022. Ivan is the co-founder and CEO of MVP Workshop, one of Europe's pioneering blockchain product development. He was one of the 30 under 30 most successful Serbian entrepreneurs in 2011. Ivan is a partner and board member at Serbian Venture Network. He has a startup mentor at Google Launchpad, Founder Institute, Start IT Startup, and also ICT Hub. He's currently an active angel investor at Business Angel Group Organizers in Digital Serbia Initiative. Dear Ivan, please join us. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you. Please. So to open this panel, to start the panel, I would like to start with the main topic. Banned, but not broken. ChatGPT. Can we really ban or suppress a technology like artificial intelligence? Please share your thoughts. Dear Andriani?
Well, definitely we cannot ban technology, but we can educate people, and especially children. I will soon to be a mother of 3 boys, and definitely I wouldn't like them to access social media, chat GPT before they become 18 because they don't have the maturity. Meaning, saying that, I have to have the maturity to teach them and actually put in the curriculum at schools from young age how and why they should use them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dear Paulina, your thoughts?
Actually, it's a very good question to start. In my opinion, we cannot ban the technology, starting from the dishwasher, arriving to artificial intelligence. The things are developing, and I do believe it will go in the same way for the future. So what we need to do is to use the technology in efficient and at the same time proper way, so we can develop without to have any negative feedback.
Absolutely. Ivan, your thoughts?
Well, if you look at what ChatGPT is and most of the things that OpenAI is doing publicly right now, at least, you know, if we are talking about the products that we can use today,
Exactly.
then these are 5 to 10-year-old concepts. It's not something that happened yesterday. The main difference between what OpenAI did is actually giving them a lot of compute power and access to a lot of data. So the main question about this stays, you know, what is the source of the data and how can we keep these projects having access to data without, you know, compromising privacy, security, or anything in that manner. These models need extreme data in order for them to function. So this means that if tomorrow in Web3 we end up with the users owning the data, that the main question will become, will the users actually be willing to give ChatGPT and all of these projects the data to actually train and run on? And this is, I think, also a bit of a harder question. Right now, ChatGPT is actually possible because the data is centralized with big systems, and they are allowing it to use this data to train. I think this is the main question about it being banned. It will not probably be banned by law, you know, but by availability of the data to actually train the models.
Exactly. Absolutely. And banning the technology will limit the benefits of the technology. How can ChatGPT improve education, for example? You want to share your thoughts? How can ChatGPT help us improve our current educational systems? Any ideas?
Well, I believe that in schools with lots of students, for example, it can help with keeping records and, you know, manage the system somehow. Also in poor countries where, for example, let's take Africa, right?
Right.
There is one teacher for many schools. Of course, the teacher cannot be there at the same time, but if we use AI, then we can actually help the schools. And then, you know, then we will sort a kind of problem, let's say.
Very much true, very much
Yes.
true. Paulina, any thoughts?
I do believe the right word, like in my opinion, for this is personalization.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that is missing to a lot of students, exactly this personalization about their development, how this is going from the beginning to the end. We know that their students and their kids, that they have specific needs, so this personalization through AI is something that will help them develop into their direction, not to bother them with the things that are actually not very helpful and very useful for them.
Right. Absolutely. Dear Ivan, any thoughts on education?
Well, first of all, I know that Srećko Miodragović will have an amazing talk about AI in education here at tomorrow conference, so I think everyone should hear that. My main worry about this is obviously we are getting more and more reliant on computers to provide us data, and the ChatGPT is great for that. You know, it summarizes things amazingly. The problem with that is that on one hand, we need to learn how to investigate, you know, how to find data, etc., if we want to create, you know, our own opinions. With the ChatGPT, that is a bit harder. You know, if we have the students just using the tools to get the answers, then it is very powerful for them, you know, not just during the school, but after. But on the other hand, it might lead us to having generations that need more subjects about critical thinking, because we can just turn to technology and turn off our ability to think critically about subjects, and then just use AI to give us average opinions about something, which will lead to average people.
Yeah.
And this is not a great outlook for education, I think, while on the other hand, we have the power of these advanced metrics and all of this data that we can just use to get an answer about an opinion and to learn what the world is thinking.
Yeah.
But I'm greatly negatively worried that it will influence our ability to create critically in a bad way, and education needs to think how to solve for that.
Exactly, exactly. And not just on education. So ChatGPT can really change the world, but brings its dangers. How will it change other areas of society, not just education? What other changes can occur with ChatGPT, for the better or for the worse? You want to share your thoughts?
Yes, well, I believe AI, if it's used properly, it can change things to the best. Let's say in health sector, definitely AI can help when using the right AI tools to have a good surgery.
Right.
But definitely you will still need a doctor to use the AI, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, the doctor will still need to go and practice on a dead body anyway.
Yep.
But definitely the way that they will change having surgeries, that will change for the best. Less painful surgeries, let's say, you know, just, you know, we will need still the doctors, definitely.
Yeah. No, AI empowers, very good point. AI empowers the doctor. So if you're looking for cancer in the magnetic resonance imaging, the AI is better diagnosing the cancer than the doctors. But so it can help the doctors understand if there's cancer or not, but then it's up to the person, the doctor, to decide what's the strategy to implement. Paulina, any other thoughts on?
Actually, I have
benefits of AI?
already seen examples about how AI is finding malaria in blood cells and helping in some regions. So I do believe we can just benefit from the AI. Of course, now there are a lot of things that are happening. People, in my opinion, people are not very well informed how to use the AI and what is exactly the AI. This is one of the things that will be like balancing the things in the future in terms of how we train and educate people to understand what is exactly AI, and from the other side, how they can use it in a proper way.
Yep. Absolutely, that's so important, to understand the technology and empower people to use it properly.
Yes.
Brilliant. Ivan?
Well, first of all, I have to say I use ChatGPT quite a lot. Over the last 20-something years of working in companies and building companies, I've been a chief executive of some sort in technical companies for the last 10 years or so, or a managing partner now in a company that acts as a blend between a software builder company and a VC fund. So I talk to these events a lot, I publish a lot of LinkedIn, etc. So a lot of my job in general is based on my ability to very cleverly produce meaningless text.
Got it.
I produce a lot of meaningless emails, a lot of meaningless social media content, and I constantly refurbish a lot of PowerPoint presentations and talks. So it has affected my productivity greatly, from this standpoint.
But if you can automate that
Yes,
to AI,
yes,
it
I
empowers
just tell
you
it,
to do other
can
stuff.
you do the same thing, but just omit this and, change the title of the conference, etc., etc., and I will go and talk about the same thing like I always do. That is, I think, the worry with these LLM systems. They are not able to think critically because that is not their purpose. They are able to create, to predict what an answer might be to a certain questions. And if we are talking about my average day or average content or an average diagnosis a doctor has to do, whatever, they will be better than the average human. However, they are very bad at dealing with outliers. So we still need the most quality people. We still need a lot of these things, and LLMs also cannot penetrate, of course, all industries because of this. I believe, however, that the CEO job market will be greatly hit. You know, and I do worry about my future.
No, it's true, and it's so important what Ivan just said. You know, it's really about empowering the brilliant brains we have. There's so many brilliant people in the world, and sometimes they're spending their precious time, instead of improving the world, doing routine stuff. What if we could have ChatGPT taking care of that, right? The basic stuff. Let the brilliant brains think about how to change the world, how to improve society, how to change education, how to help the people in need in the poor countries. If we use this brain power to those focuses, we can use AI to do the routine stuff, right? The basic stuff. And that questions the marketplace. How about work, right? How will companies use ChatGPT? Will they replace the workers, or will they empower their workforce to do more and create more value? You want to share your thoughts on how the workplace may change with ChatGPT? Any ideas?
Yes.
Any thoughts?
I mean, talking about education again, for example, in a university, most likely a lecturer was a student himself or herself in the 70s or in the 80s, okay?
Right.
So not he or she won't specifically know how to use AI to actually manage 200 students.
Yeah.
So he will definitely need a person to show him or help him, to assist him. So there is another position open there.
Yep.
So I think it will help if, again, we use it properly.
So important. Paulina?
Actually, I can give you an example from my work. Currently, we have a software company, not very big one, but we don't have junior programmers in the software company because all the routine and all the simple tasks in terms of development are doing by AI. So we invest in the people that are coming and to invest them to improve them so they can be better and they can improve their development, not just to do the simple programming routine task. And this is one of the examples that how AI is changing the work. Same goes for manufacturing. Same goes for, we are using, for example, AI for construction. And for another, like more than 10, 11 verticals that are already adapted. This upgrade of their work with artificial intelligence, not the opposite way.
Absolutely. And I want to highlight 2 points that Paulina just mentioned. If you're the CEO of a company, sometimes it's hard to find the right expertise on the marketplace. Somebody to do, writing, or writing a post, or doing something you need.
Yes.
If AI can do something for you, it can help keep the company running, saving the jobs of all the other ones on the company, right? So you're saving all the other jobs. Also, if you want to just pick somebody else and quickly teach them how to do that, you pick up AI and you get AI to teach them how to do that job that you need to do. So essentially, it helps CEOs finding the right people. Even if the person is not on the market, they'll have AI teaching him what to do. That's very important. A very important tool for CEOs.
AI gave the possibility to train the people.
Exactly.
Because now this was very important time to spend, and now AI make this accessible to the companies, especially that the companies don't have a lot of resources.
And also talking about,
please.
about factories, for example, it will help not to have work accidents, but that doesn't mean that we won't need people to actually use the AI tools.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the re-educating our workforce towards new skills. Ivan?
Well, I like what you just mentioned, in terms of that AI might help a company stay afloat. Because in many cases, when a company has problems, you need to lay off people, etc., etc. So if the AI is helping the company run better in any way, then yes, obviously the company will be in better shape. So less layoffs, etc. So yeah, I do like that optimistic approach in that regard, and I think that it is correct to think in that way. You cannot have AI as an amazing productivity tool and then also be convinced that the average person is going to be worse off by having an amazing productivity tool. That just doesn't work from any standpoint.
Yep.
I do believe that automation in general is going to change the way how do we create companies.
Yeah.
Because if you are a very talented person, you might, it might also lead to you having less and less reasons to actually work for a company.
Yeah.
If you can, instead of becoming a part of a 20 or 30 people team, if 2 or 3 people can self-organize and use productivity tools in order to act like they are a part of a 30 people team, that is also true. So I do believe it will help companies and as entities, like you said, but I also believe that on the other hand, we will maybe go into the direction of having less and less big companies, at least when it comes to technology, in areas where certain things can be automated.
Yeah.
And that means for an average Joe that does not want to manage a 50,000 people company and that is a specific skill set, it might enable him to actually start a unicorn in some way, which currently today it's usually not really possible.
Exactly. The question is, do the universities prepare students for the marketplace? When you get out of the university, are you ready to work in a company? Do you know what the company is doing? How can the company best prepare you? Can AI help on that process of educating the new person coming from the university, right? That's one of the questions. Talking about companies and workforce, we talk about the gender balance. And I'm a very proponent of empowering women for two main reasons. There's a study showing that if you bring women to the top leader positions like CEOs or co-CEOs, it increases the final revenue of the company, mostly because women create a better working environment. Also, microfinancing work being done in poor countries show that if you give money to women in poor countries, it empowers the economy. They take care of their kids, and they're very likely to pay back the money that they got from the microloan. So in summary, if you want to change the world, empower women, okay? That's the truth. Well, against us men, but still, we do our part. Now, honestly, I do think the gender balance is really important, and I would like to have your thoughts. You're doing amazing work on women in tech, for example, and how do we bring women into and rebalance the gender balance? You want to share your thoughts around the importance of having women involved in all sectors of society?
Yes, well, I will speak about tech world.
Yep.
We all know that there are not many women who actually work in tech. And of course, they don't get the funding that is needed to open startups and all this kind of stuff.
Is it easy to get funding from a woman, a young CEO, a young entrepreneur? Is it easier for women or men?
It's easier for men, I would say. It's still easy for men. The thing is, okay, it's a circle, right? I mean, if we don't open this circle and just, educate again or mentor. Mentors is not about women mentor women, men can mentor women as well, and give them the skills to be leaders and entrepreneurs and, just take the risk. So that's the thing. I mean, AI can help, of course, but, we need more women to be educated in the tech world and go to universities, for example, and learn about technology.
True. Paulina, any thoughts on women in tech?
Oh, this is a very long.
It's going to be like a 10 minutes.
This can be very long answer, but okay, we can try to keep it short. Actually, I do believe there are a couple obstacles for the women going to technology. First of all is that when you go and apply for work, when you compare men or women, like I'm a hardware engineer, like most of people, can you imagine, like she's a hardware engineer, And at the same time, people are like, okay, let's give it a try. But when we start to think deeply, like for example in Bulgaria, we have 47% women in science. We have 23% women that are developing business. We have 15% that are trying to bundle the science and the technology, because I'm speaking especially about deep tech because we are here about this. And 1.5% of these women receiving funding.
Like what's going on there?
And in the scale of the whole entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem, it's a similar case. So you can be lucky if you're from this 1.5%. And what is the problem? The problem is that for the women, we don't have enough access to the things that are accessible to men just because of this gender balance. And this is not a myth. All the people are saying this is a myth. No, it's not a myth.
It's not.
And from the other side, when we start to talk about the women, we are just like, okay, let's give it a couple of examples. I was studying with 200 boys and 3 girls. When we graduate, I was one of the 40 that graduate. And all oh, you're lucky because you're a lady. No, it was a hard work to graduate from this school. It's not a luck, you know. And same goes now for the business. So I do believe we need a lot of role models.
Yeah.
This is coming from what we already heard about the education. We need to start from younger age to educate and to train these women and these girls that they can do it. They need to explore, they need to see, and much more they need to see ladies' examples to show them, yes, this is possible. I'm here because it's possible. So you can do it as well.
And we have 2 great role models here, let me tell you.
Thank you.
Dear Ivan, some thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think in Serbia we have a similar situation in terms that when we are talking about science in general, the situation is like 50-50. You have a relatively equal number of women in science as we do with men, and it also doesn't usually transfer to entrepreneurship or big tech companies for many reasons. I think I never gave this enough thought in order to be someone who I would consider a thought leader in this regard, so to speak. What I can say is that a possible reason that women are better at managing companies, especially in many cases big companies, is that women have a tendency, at least that's how I notice, and that's how it is when I look at my wife, to optimize more for longevity and for the future.
Right.
And usually in order to start a company, you need to be a crazy person. And it seems there are less crazy people in the female world. So unless this somehow changes, this is a very crazy and stressful job. I think it's also a big question, why do men actually want to do it? And that is probably a mass psychosis over men also in some way. We are not doing ourselves a favor in many ways. I think that also the fact is that we bootstrap the companies that you mentioned that we built and sold. All of these companies were bootstrapped companies, so we built them with our own money. I do believe that automation, AI, Web3, etc., can create types of jobs and leadership positions where you can maybe be a single person also to build a company or to build a job in the company that does not require 8 hours of physical presence or labor. And I do believe that for women this is a very good position to be in the workplace, because usually when we talk about the reasons why companies might not promote women as often or want to fund women on their entrepreneurial journey, people start talking about women taking more career breaks. But if we are in a position where we can automate most of the things, then who cares about the career break? No one cares if you go to have a child, and don't work for 1 or 2 years, even because you can suddenly do all of your job within 2 hours. And then, as mentioned, who cares? Economically, it's not feasible to do it less. And usually, when it comes to women in the job market, technology was a big enabler because of these things, their ability to work more. However, I do have a problem with, us usually talking about technology in this particular case, about a way for other people to work more. I personally want to work less, and this is very important to me.
And that's the future. It's true. That's the future. What Ivan is saying, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to add something. One of the biggest differences that I have seen like how the men and the women anticipate the work like to be entrepreneurship, like the male part, this is business, this is making money, this is profit. The female part, okay, I'm making this business, I'm making this money, but I'm making this impact in the end.
Yep.
This is one of the biggest difference that, in my opinion, why the women are better in management position, because they have this empathy that is needed to be this safe environment.
Yeah. And then in short, I would say that what we can take out of these ideas is that men with women all together, if we work cooperatively, we can make the world better, make companies better,
Yes.
because we have different visions over the same challenges, right? Men are more focused on results, women are focused on impact. And if we combine these minds together, we can do something better. If it is, at home, at a company, or something changing the world. To go around the panel just for some final thoughts. Thank you so much for the great panel, but some final thoughts you might want to share. There, Andriani, some final thoughts?
Well, regarding the magazine that I'm running, the online magazine, I don't think AI will replace journalists because, okay, it might replace the daily news and some basic articles, but I still need a journalist to have a critical thinking and write about, what is happening in the world. For example, I have an Italian guy who wrote about Italy banned ChatGPT. So if I didn't have him, I wouldn't actually have an opinion article.
Exactly. Empowering the workforce.
Yes.
And empowering companies to produce more. So no, not getting people out of the companies, but empowering them to produce
Exactly.
more.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Some final thoughts, Paulina?
Yes, I will be happy just to share that after this conference, in my belief, everyone needs to dive deeply into what is AI, to find mentors or the role models that are doing this, and to dive deeply with them what is exactly happening. And in this case, we can have the right answers about what to do next with the AI without to be worried or without to think about is it good or bad or to be banned.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. There, Ivan, some final thoughts?
I really think that AI is amazing for our way forward in general, and ChatGPT is an amazing tool. I believe that currently there is a bit of too much hype around large language models in general. They have very big limitations, which people are sometimes talking about, but maybe not enough. And in many cases, it's either, people hating them because of things they're not supposed to do, or people saying that they are going to solve the things that they cannot solve.
Exactly.
This is, considering the power of AI, this is a bit of a dangerous area. So, we will need more and more people with critical thinking, I think, in this regard, and hopefully we will have more honest ones there.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a brilliant way to finish. Thank you so much. For all of you attending, thank you so much for being with us today. For you at home, join us next conference. We want to have you in person in this amazing event. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.